Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. 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 Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. 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 Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivraj Jagacharya Ashtodhara Shishimandis Divine Grace Abhay Charana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Nama Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavat Ki. All glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.
Hare Krishna. We are all very happy to welcome His Grace Dwarkadhish Prabhu and Her Grace Vishakha Priya Mataji here at Vishal Nagar, ISKCON Vishal Nagar Center. Haribol! I would like to give a brief introduction to Prabhuji and Mataji. Dwarkadhish Prabhu, His Grace Dwarkadhish Prabhu is a postgraduate in medicine from Mumbai University, and he's the head of department and one of the founding members and trustees of the Bhakti Vedanta Hospital and Research Center located at Mira Road in Mumbai. Haribol! His search for meaningful life led him to Krishna consciousness in 1982. During his undergraduate years, and during his Vishakha Priya, Her Grace Vishakha Priya Mataji got introduced to Krishna consciousness in 1985, when she was in 9th standard. Haribol. And they both got initiated in 1986. Of course, at that time they did not know each other. They entered Grihastha life in 1990, and in fact, they were the first couple to get married at Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Mandir. They love to do things together. They look up to service as they took up the service as spiritual counselors in 1992, and they have been striving to help devotees, especially in their Grihastha life. To this end, they have been traveling to several centers in India like Kolkata, Nashik, Pune, Kolhapur, etc., and even abroad to Malaysia, Mauritius, Bahrain, USA, etc. They are part of Grihastha Vision team at Radha Gopinath Mandir, and also they organize premarital training programs. Mataji has been an IYS girls preacher and has been organizing summer camps for them since over 18 years in various centers. They both have been regularly performing deity worship once a week at Chowpatty Temple since over 25 years. And I would like to mention here that it takes 2 hours to come from Mira Road to Chowpatty Temple. And they have been consistently doing deity worship for 25 years, every day coming 2 hours travel every time. Another service they love to perform is dramas at the annual drama festival. So His Grace Radhesham Prabhu and His Grace Kanetakur Prabhu, they fondly remember how His Grace Sridhama Prabhu is your brother, right, Prabhu? So His Grace Dwarkadhish Prabhu's brother and His Grace Dwarkadhish Prabhu both used to play vampires during the Maharaj Kirtan. And I already mentioned how they travel for 2 hours for deity worship. And Mataji is also very dear to Maharaj. I heard in one of the Maharaj's lecture how he looked for Vishakha Priya Mataji for comments. So I remember that. And they come all the way they travel for 2 hours to attend Maharaj's class. So that's how Maharaj has trained his devotees in Harikatha. So in the love for Harikatha, I would say. And they were supposed to be on a personal trip here, by the way, to meet some of the other devotees. And they did not plan for a visit here in this center. But they have graciously accepted to come here. So I would like to thank both of you. So let us welcome very loudly, right, and very heartily, let's welcome them to this ISKCON Vishal Nagar Center by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very, very much for this overwhelming welcome. We didn't expect we would be attacked by devotees in the morning. Not with missiles and guns, but with their love, with their smiling faces and beautiful garlands. We feel happy to be here. I think we made a good decision to see this nice facility which Prabhuji has so kindly, inaugurated here for spreading the message of Shrintaya Gaurachandra and His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you again. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Shahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnu Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Ancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. Hare Krishna. So we had given this topic, the topic for discussion today? Yeah. So we are all on a journey. What is a journey? Where is a journey going towards to be? What is the destination of this journey? Gantavya Sthan. How the acharyas can so beautifully, concisely, like you have microchips which contain so many terabytes of data. The aphorisms which the Vedic seers have given is so powerful that they can concise for the entire civilization in short codes the goal of human existence. Towards this end, they have given 3 powerful aphorisms which is foundational for every human being. The first is Asatoma Sadgamaya. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. And Mrutyoma Amritgamaya. Gamaya means to go towards your destination. Go, right? We have come to this world and we are going somewhere. But where are we going? So these are the guiding lines. And to the extent every human being understands this, he will go in the right direction. So this is like GPS slokas for the entire planet. Right? This is guiding us. Like we put, this Mataji tells us, you are just 10 kilometers away from, you're on the fastest track to. So when we when we put this put this slokas into our life, then that Mataji, not Mataji, Srila Prabhupada will tell us, you're on the fastest track back to Godhead. So that's what it is. This concept of Sat and Asat is very, very beautiful. What is the meaning of Sat? Sat means that which is everlasting, never-ending, eternal, indestructible. And Asat is just the opposite, right? So we have been coaxed to understand that real life is trying to minimize the importance of that which is Asat and allowing within the core of our hearts, allowing within the horizon of our consciousness, the sun of eternality to rise. How do we understand this concept of eternality? I have some friends in America, and it was a New Year day, and the entire family, the husband, the wife, the two children, their in-laws, and the cousins, they all were sitting together, and they sent a photograph to us by WhatsApp, and they're all wearing a black T-shirt. A nice photograph, everyone is smiling, it's New Year, so everyone was like happy in 2022. The T-shirt carried something significant, which set me thinking. The T-shirt said, "We live only once." You have seen this T-shirt like that? Yeah. You see it on billboards also. We live only once, right? I said, yes. This is the successful propaganda of Maya. And this is quite prevalent, is it not? This concept of living once is very much something which people adapt or adopt in their lives as their foundational principle. Like we are talking about Asatoma. So they're saying, no, said, Satama Sadgamaya. We are not eternal, we live only once. And think about it, when human beings are made to get convinced about this philosophy of life, then it can only lead to degradation. Because you are not, it takes away from you any responsible behavior. If I'm going to live only once, then I might as well do anything. There is no law of karma, there is no law of action-reaction. And that leads to a completely hedonistic, guilt-free existence, where everything is all right. Whatever you do is fine. Everything is sab chalta hai. Everything is fine. But no, we've been told that we live always. We live always. Living in this body, what Prabhupada calls embodied souls. He calls it the word, right? Embodied souls, right? Souls within a body, embodied souls. And because we are so much absorbed in this body, which is only Pancha Mahabhut matter, and therefore our entire vision of life becomes narrowed down to only looking at temporary things. Because the body is temporary, and because powerful impact of matter on our consciousness is there, right? And therefore the entire vision becomes oriented towards only matter and temporariness. Pretty dangerous concept. So how do you start understanding eternality? One way I thought was, just look around. Look at the sky. When did you last see the sky? We usually don't look at the sky, we don't look like this. Srila Prabhupada is very special, no? In many ways. But his head was always like this. When he's not on the pose for a picture, but his head was always like that. Right? And how is our head usually? So somebody said, अगर जीना है तो सर उठा के जियो. Because you're walking down the stairs and you're walking down the road and everyone is like still, everyone's head is always down. Prabhupada is always looking up towards the sky, right? The eternal sky. And the sky is the background of existence. All of us have a common sky. In front of the sky is the clouds, right? What do clouds and sky represent to us? When we look at them a little philosophically. Are the clouds eternal? No. They're constantly changing. As I remember as a child gazing at the clouds, just looking at the clouds and trying to figure out, looks like an animal. It looks like a bird now. It looks like a kite. Oh, it looks like this. So you just see figures, imagine figures within the clouds, and just like a, daydreamer, I would just look at the clouds and try to understand what these clouds are and just allow the mind to just float into that senseless existence of the clouds. So they're always changing. They can be very bright clouds in spring, and they can be dark clouds in monsoon. And that is like our life, right? You can have very brightness in your life sometimes, and they can also be sometimes dark clouds, right? Like before the Govardhan Leela began, right? Indra sent powerful clouds, Samvartaka clouds. And suddenly, Vrindavan Dham, it is the month of Kartik, right? Govardhan Leela is Kartik, Diwali time. You don't see clouds, dark clouds during that time. And suddenly they were in the horizon, you can see dark, dense rumbling of clouds coming in, right? So clouds are like that. Clouds means temporariness. Background of the clouds is more important. What is that? The sky. So eternality is available for us to conceptualize very meaningfully by looking at things around us. The sky is eternal. And the sky also reminds us of Krishna. You know how? The sky is blue in color, not in Pune and Bombay. So if you say, "Arey Prabhuji, blue thodi hai, grey color ka hai." It is grey colored, right? Talking about colors, which are the best colors to look at? Psychologically, colors impact human consciousness very powerfully. So when somebody makes a new house, these are our Matajis, when they design their house, they're very choosy about what tiles to use and what paint to have and what curtains to have. Is it not? Huh? Because the colors have impact on the mind very powerfully. How buildings are made, what colors they are made, they have impact. So which are the most healthy colors, which are the most soothing colors, which are the most uplifting colors? And we're surprised to know that the two most important colors are green and blue. Psychologically proven in Oxford University. This is not just some aesthetically like that. This is scientifically proven. The colors impact on consciousness. And it is so interesting when you look at it scientifically. The Lord Ramachandra is emerald green and Krishna is sapphire blue. Eso Neela Varana Giridhari, right? Eso Giridhari, Gordhanadhari, right? So Krishna is Neela Varana, is blue in color. And therefore when the Brahma Jyoti shines from his divine body and illuminates the entire spiritual sky, the sun absorbs a part of that effulgence of the Brahma Jyoti, like a convex lens absorbs sunlight, and then you can focus it on something, right? You my children used to do that. You have a convex lens, and then you put it, and paper gets burnt, and cloth gets burnt, and things like that. I would do that as a child. Crazy things, no? But it was fun. So the sun is like a disk which absorbs and concentrates the Brahma Jyoti and then reflects that sun on this universe. And because it is coming from Krishna, there is no scientific way of explaining why the sky is blue. Scientists have absolutely no understanding of why it is blue, right? The only reason is spiritual, because it is Krishna's color. It is coming from Krishna. The Brahma Jyoti also carries the spectrum of light which emanates from Krishna's body. So then when you think of the sky, you think of Krishna, and Krishna is eternal. Krishna is not temporary. So that itself gives us an impetus to understand that we are eternal. Let's again understand in a different way. Today we want to try to impress upon our hearts that we should live a life in pursuit of immortality. Because we are immortal beings, right? We are not supposed to live a life which perpetuates mortality, right? Prabhupada stresses this so many times in his classes, that we are immortal beings. Na jayate mriyate vakadachin. Ayam bhuta bhavitavana bhuyaha. We are ajo, we are nityo, we are shashvato, we are purano. We will not get destroyed. Nahanyate hanimane sharire. All of you have bank accounts. How many of you have bank accounts here? Brahmacharis. They depend definitely on our accounts. So please collect good amount of money. So that we can serve our brahmacharis doing so much for the world. So you have an account in SBI, you have Canara Bank, or whatever, Standard Chartered Bank. But you also have a PAN number, right? Does that change? If you change from Canara Bank to SBI, your account number will change? Yes. Right? And I go to ICICI Bank, account number will change. But there is a PAN number. PAN stands for permanent account number. Talks about eternality, right? This permanency. How many of you will, when you get a job, right? All of us are doing some job somewhere. Our grihasthas, some of our ladies may be doing a job, right? When you do a job, that is very difficult, of course, getting a job these days. But when you get a job, what is the thing which you hanker for most in the first few months of your job? Salary, of course. Not few. That's the first month itself, you want your salary check to be there. But you're waiting for a particular type of letter to come, which says you are now, huh? You are now permanent, right? This is called as probation period, right? And once you get permanent, it's like, oh, now I am permanent, right? So why is it like that? Think about it. Why is it we always, and how many of you ladies would like to live in a rental house all your life? Huh? 2 साल यहाँ वहाँ 2 साल के बाद वहाँ और 6 महीने के लिए वहाँ. You keep on changing. What does the Grihastha want? He wants to have, and the brahmacharis also want a permanent center. They don't want to have one center. You preach for 6 months here, and you preach in the next center there, and preach in the next center there, and in 6 months, I'm not able to collect any congregation here, and just shifting. You want to have Vishal Nagar, right, where Radheshyam Prabhu we met yesterday. I was very happy to meet him, right, our dear friend and worshipful godbrother. And he said, yeah, you should go to Vishal Nagar. We are going to make a big temple over there, right? So that's the dream, right? So you want to have a permanent place here where people can congregate, right? When you make a house, you make it of mud. Why don't you make houses of mud? We don't make houses of mud. We make houses which are long-lasting, right? Especially when you see the two amazing things in this world which are long-lasting are forts and temples. You see the forts. You go to Simhagad, Panahalgad, right? You go to all these forts Shivaji Maharaj made, and there are about 4,000 forts in our country, right? This fort was made like this, so many years back. The forts were made for what? For protecting the bodies of those who reside inside. And what is temples for? Protecting the souls of these people. So the forts and temples have similar functions. The forts protect the body from foreign invasion, right? And temples protect the soul also from foreign invasion of Maya, right? And temples are always made to long last. When you look at Jagannath Puri temple, it's been there for so many centuries. You look at Sri Rameshwara temple, you look at Sri Rangam temple, 8th century, right? So all this indicates to us that we are here for learning a science of life which takes us towards eternality, right? And that's exactly what Krishna does and Lord Ram does and the Lord does. He performs such beautiful, all attractive activities when he comes here, which creates an impact in historical accounts that people will read, remember, talk about for thousands and thousands of years. Radhanath Maharaj was giving a class on the Pushya Abhishek which took place at Radha Gopinath temple. And he was talking about Krishna and Balram walking through the streets of Mathura. As imagine, how many of you walk through the streets of Pune, Bombay, wherever? Has anyone ever written accounts of somebody walking on the street and people reading it? They were walking on the streets. Does it sound exciting? No. But when Krishna and Balram walk, it is mentioned, right? And after thousands of years, that one walk, only once they walked together, right? The one walk of Krishna and Balram in Mathura sets an eternal activity which people read and relish. How we met the washerman, how we met Sudama Brahman, Sudama florist, right? And we met Kubja, right? So that the story, eternality. What the Lord does is always something of eternal impact. In Ramayana, there's so many things, but you think Ram embraced Hanuman, right? Now we also embrace people, right? When devotees meet, they embrace, right? And people embrace in romantic ways and so many ways, right? But when Ram embraces Hanuman, that's something which creates history. And we worship that picture. Right? Is it not? Some people embrace it. So the point is that when Lord does something, and therefore when we invest consciousness in understanding, hearing those activities of the Lord which are eternal, then we are investing in our own eternal nature. The more we allow our minds to delve and get absorbed in the temporal things of this world. For example, most of the time people are, when they go to television, the most favorite thing in the television is news, right? News. मैं ज़्यादा टीवी देखता नहीं हूँ, खाली news देखता हूँ. There are so many news there, telling you things about the. Prabhu talks about the newspapers, right? Prabhu said in America, how much paper is. Prabhu has this. He always did not like people to cut trees. And he said in New York, for example, there are so many newspapers. And in papers are not like, of course, we also have 16 pages and 18, 20 pages. But in America, they have like thick booklets of paper. And you use it in the morning and in the evening they are in the. And so they don't even read most of the thing, right? It is just there. So, but news, so the news of this world, today he did this and she did that. That means we are absorbed in temporariness. But devotees get up in the morning, chant their rounds. We are in Srimad Bhagavatam class right now, right? And we read the scriptures. We read scriptures. We don't waste our time unnecessarily in reading the news of this world. We want to know a few things which are happening, which are relevant to us, right? And that's about all, right? But sometimes people used to have in the house, 3 newspapers coming in, right? You've seen people like that? Economic Times, Hindustan Times, and some other people will be there. And everything they will read. Nana Shastra Vicharane ka nipunau, Sadharma Samsthapakau. The way our Goswamis read our scriptures, Nana Shastra, and they established Sadharma, not Asadharma, right? A religion which will last for eternality, right? So in our culture, eternality is always stressed. Sadharma Samsthapaka. Right? So why are we so confident about Krishna consciousness? Why our hearts resonate so strongly with Krishna consciousness? Why does it seem so natural to be Krishna conscious? Prabhupada said this so beautifully. Said the Mahamantra is not an unnatural imposition on the mind. Right? As our small children, all of us when we are toddlers, we were like walking like this, holding mommy's sari, holding some pillar, and falling down. And Prabhupada said, and then of course after 2-3 days, a little more steady, after 1 week, a little more steady, and then after 20 days, we start running. So Prabhupada compares that to our nature. It's just like a child learns to walk, is natural, no? It's just natural for the child to learn to walk. Automatically he learns to walk. Prabhupada says, similarly, Krishna consciousness is simply natural for the soul. Right? So because Krishna consciousness is stressing about Sanatan Dharma, and we are Sanatan also. Because we are Sanatan, Dharma means nature. Dharma, Prabhupada translates dharma as nature. Nature of salt is to be salty. Nature of water is to be liquid. Right? Nature of chili pepper is to be tikha. Right? So similarly, our nature is to be Krishna conscious. That's our nature. And because it is our nature to be Krishna conscious, therefore Krishna consciousness is so natural to us. Even a small child, Prabhupada can chant, and even a dog, Prabhupada said. You heard that first lecture of Prabhupada gave it so many years back. He spoke about the Mahamantra. Right? Even a child can take part in it, even a dog can take part in it. And you have seen some dogs chanting. We have a dog at GEV, Govardhan Eco Village, right? Who comes for Mangalarti every day. Huh? And he comes to Bhagavatam class also, he sits there. Like the deer, Chitraketu Maharaj, this our Bharat Maharaj, the deer was always attending classes, right, by the sages, because he was aware that I made a mistake, right? I fell down for something which is asat, and now I have to go for sat again. So the dog is like that. So children don't understand anything about Krishna consciousness. They're just like toffees and cookies, and they're just like that. But when you have kirtan, children start dancing. In fact, ought to talk of children dancing. Even when our mothers are pregnant, right? They said, "Oh, this child is kicking in the womb," during kirtan. So that's how natural the point is what? The point is that we are in the womb, or you are in a small baby's body, or you are in a dog's body, or a cat's body, or a vulture's body, or a monkey's body, right? In any body you are, we are by nature Krishna conscious entities, right? So we have devotees in monkey bodies, we have devotees in vulture bodies, right? Jatayu, and devotees in all sorts of bodies, right? Because even though we are living in an embodied way in the temporary body, the eternality of the soul expresses itself beautifully, right? And therefore, we want to invest. Human life is meant for investment. Where? In mutual fund, right? Yes. And this fund never goes down. The Sensex never goes down, right? It always goes up. It's a fund where there is no loss. There's no loss in this fund. And therefore, our Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our worshipable scripture, the moment the world became dark again, and Krishna left the planet, plunged in darkness, the source of life, the source of all knowledge, the source of very existence, left the world. After being here for 125 years, the world was plunged in darkness. The source of all life and source of all light left. But how would Krishna allow the whole world to be in darkness for too long? He loves his children. He loves all of us. And he again reincarnated. As what? As the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam is that authentic, God-given scripture which is our path to eternal existence. There is no difference between the terms Sanatana Dharma and Bhagavad Dharma. They are the same. Sanatana Dharma is based on the Bhagavad. And Bhagavad connects to Bhagavan and Bhakti. The word Bhagavad, it connects to Bhagavan and connects to Bhakti. Right? So our primary scripture, there may be so many scriptures which are written by the sages and rishis, but not all are relevant to us, honestly speaking. Not all are relevant. There are many irrelevant scriptures. Irrelevant scriptures. Because they're different for different types of people. Right? All books in the world are not relevant to you. For me, medical books are more relevant than for you, maybe some other books are relevant. So all books are not relevant, all scriptures are not relevant to us. So it says, Dharma projita kaitavanatra paramonirmat saranam satam. Right? All scriptures, and which are the irrelevant scriptures? Those scriptures which tell us and glorify existence into temporariness have been rejected by the Bhagavatam. Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Sarva, Vishera Bhanda. So, there are a lot of pious people in our country. India is a land of piety. And therefore it is worshipable, it is wonderful. Right? Nonetheless, even though we acknowledge the piety in our country, please remind yourself, many of us may be Hindus over here, right? Our parents practiced more of karma kanda as a part of religion, right? it was not so much the scientific understanding of the nature of the soul and practicing bhakti. It was more piety, doing this, doing that, shubh hai, ashubh hai, this, that, like that, a lot of things. So it was more karma kanda oriented piety. And therefore, when the children become devotees, it's like, wow, this guy is like going too much into dharma, right? They were supposed to be dharmic also. But haven't you had experience that when you go into bhakti, people say, hey, jada mat kar, right? Earlier they would think, like when she became a devotee, parents are thinking, थोड़ा धर्म का करिए अच्छा है उसके लिए थोड़ा सा करना चाहिए थोड़ा थोड़ा मंदिर में जाना चाहिए एंड ये तो बैठे रहती है आखा दिन मंदिर में ही बैठी रहती है राइट सो दैट वाज बिकमिंग टू मच राइट वी गो टू टेंपल our parents went to temple also, right? How long they go into temple? They go into temple and then Papa will remove a purse and say, beta, then he and your note, right? How many of you put note in the hundi as a small child, right? And the Papa took out a note, 5 rupees ka, 10 rupees ka, depending on father's generosity, or maybe if he was a little rich man, he was 100 rupees ka note, or he was very poor means is 8 ka sikka, that is 8 ka sikka pita. So you, as a child, he would never put it. He'll put the child, make the child do it. It's like teaching good habits, teaching children good habits to put something in the hundi, right? And they would sit there. My mother said that mandir ma jahiye na to darad bahar nahi avanu. So you go to temple and you sit there till the buttocks touch the floor or stitch touch the bench, and you sit there for some time and then you go, right? And when you come to ISKCON temple, what happens, right? Nothing asat, it is sat, right? You go to temple, and you go to temple in the morning at Mangala Arati. Like I remember Gopinath days, we go at 4:30 in the morning, right? And there is our entire schedule, Bhagavatam class, Nashing Arti, Tulsi Arti, Japa, Sastakam, and then of course there is Prasadam, right? And then you hang on with the devotees, and then there is Rajbhog. So then you Yashomati Nandan song, and then there will be a class, even Bhagavatam, the Sunday feast class, you will be there. And then you come down to the the porch in the temple, right? And all your devotees are there, all your friends are there, and you just start talking and sharing life and chit-chatting with them. And it's 5:30. Jate na abhi jate na thoda time hai abhi jate hain. It's 5:30 in the evening. You've been there for 4:30 in the morning, right? And 5:30, and parents have said, at least one day you should spend with us, no? And he said, yeah, we're coming, right? And then it become 8 o'clock in the night. He said, abhi jana chahiye. So you are there. So, Krishna consciousness is so beautiful that you just do not want to leave Krishna's association. You don't want to leave devotees' association, right? It is just, you are feel like a fish in water, right? So many devotees will tell you this experience that when we came to Krishna consciousness, somebody brought them or a DYS course, or something in Rath Yatra, something there, some impetus was there for to come. When they come to the temple and they hear the classes and they meet the devotees, you feel that, well, these are it's natural to be with these people, right? You don't feel strange people. You feel, yeah, they talk to you, they said, they welcome you, give prasadam and things like that. And you feel, this is the way I want to be. I want to be happy like these people. Right? People in America were driving in the cars and they were saying the Hare Krishna devotees in the beginning, walking through the streets of, America and Dallas and, different places all over in America. And they were wearing this, simple dhoti, kurta, what they call pigtail, shikha. Shikha is called pigtail, right? So with shikhas and what they call dhotis as bed sheets, Strange, right? America is a strange country. We know it is dhoti, but for them it is a dhoti. So anyway, they're walking down the streets like this and they're playing kirtans, right? And here is a guy who's sitting in his BMW, right? It's like one of the costliest cars at that time, right? And he says that I'm so miserable in this car. And these guys on the road, right? They have got total fakirs, nothing is there. Pair mein chappal bhi nahi hai, kuch nahi hai, right? And they're exuding such happiness, what is it that they have? And they get him in the morning at 4:30, take a cold bath and then eat some simple prasadam and I'm just living in a mansion there and yeah, these guys are happier than me. Why? Because we have Krishna. When we have Krishna, we are investing in eternal pleasure, eternal joy of the soul. Prabhupada's one of the first books he wrote for the world to know is that Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure. And how beautiful and how significant is that, right? That when we say about Krishna, he's not just some deity, some god, some Hindu god, some Indian god. He is a personality who's a reservoir of all things that exist. Janmadi asya yataha is the source of all existence. Aham sarvasya prabho matasavaram pravartati iti mata bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. Right? And Krishna discourages strongly investing our mati, our rati, and our consciousness in temporary things. A prelude to the Srimad Bhagavatam is the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, we want to start our spiritual life with the Gita because it's a prelude to the Srimad Bhagavat. If you just read the Bhagavatam directly, you may not understand what is Krishna. Right? So before we understand what is Krishna, you must understand first the Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna in so many ways in the Gita also discourages us to invest. There's a beautiful sloka which I often want to remember in my life, which brings my heart more in line with the purpose of existence and the purpose of fulfilling the need of the human soul. And that sloka is very, very special, right? Yehi samsparsaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adiyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Our beloved Father, Krishna, right? Our eternal well-wisher, Sri Krishna, is merciful telling us, his children, if you are truly intelligent, my dear children, right? Now, Krishna defines intelligence in ways different than human beings define intelligence. कितने मार्क आया? कितने मार्क आए? 96% आया. Wow, 90. बहुत intelligent बच्चा है तुम्हारा, right? So our, evaluation of intelligence is based on which university you go to, Yale, Princeton, Oxford, Stanford, right? Or maybe in India, IIT, right? So that's like बच्चा बहुत intelligent. Yale University आता है, Yale. ठीक है. So, so that is nice, that is good, that is wonderful. And we want to encourage our children to, but whether they go to Yale or Princeton, we do not want to forget that these are ultimately roads towards eternality. We don't want to get stuck with that. So, Buddhaya means, Krishna says so nicely, Yehi samsparsaja bhoga, right? He said, all joys, all pleasures of existence come because of contact, right? Sparsha ja means janma. Janma means it is born out of, right? Yehi samsparsha bhoga. All bhoga, all sensory experiences of pleasure, right, are born because of contact of the senses with the sense objects. The eyes have their specific sense objects. Beautiful, is it not? Right? I see something, right? Beautiful, is it not? Wonderful music, right? So every sense has its own specific sense object. And the senses keep getting attracted to various sense objects in the environment. And the entire life is spent in fulfilling the demands of our senses. And that is the only definition of pleasure the world knows today. The only definition of pleasure, unfortunately, which is propagated, glorified, is experiences of the senses with the sense objects. And again, bringing back to the theme of our talk today, it completely dissatisfies everybody in this creation who does that, because the senses are not permanent. We are not even touching the needs of the soul. Right? There is no sense object in this world which can give pleasure to the soul. And we are the soul. We are not this body, right? So why do all sensory, buying a new car, wearing the best dresses, having the most fanciful jewelries in this world, getting the biggest degrees on this planet, doing all sorts of things in this world, why the world is miserable? Why there is so much of suicide in the most richest countries in the world? Right? Why the youngsters being disillusioned? Why they become hippies who are born from rich, multi-millionaire families? Right? This is an important question which every intelligent person must ask. Why do the 60s, after the Second World War, when America is on the top of the world, a superpower, right? It has made such progress. And every American becomes practically a millionaire, practically. From a hard labor to rise out of the debris of the Second World War. They soar to economic growth like anything. Right? Of course, they're competing with Russia also. That's another political affair. Anyway. But why the children born of that generation became hippies? Right? If sense gratification was the goal of life, then why would they leave their wealthy parents' homes and walk on the streets looking for higher truths, looking to the East for some answers to the questions? It's an important sociological question which every Indian must ask before they ape and imitate the West. Right? It should be important to ask this question to ourselves. Because they could see these children were so intelligent, they could see through the facade. That our parents have everything in the world that the money can buy, but they're totally unhappy, totally dissatisfied. Right? And therefore they turn their eyes and ears to the East. That is the time when people like Radhanath Swami and others, many in their generation, look towards the East for answers. Right? And of course, you know the story how they hitchhiked and came to India and they got the answers. So our country, our culture, our Vedic Sabhyata has all the answers, which West does not have. Right? The West only teaches you, we live only once. And Indian culture is saying, we live eternal lives. We are eternal people. And this comes out powerfully in the teachings of Gauranga Mahaprabhu to Sripad Sanatana Goswami. The Mahavakya spoken by the Lord of eternal value for all aspirants, all Vaishnavas, especially Gaudiya Vaishnavas, is this one beautiful sloka, which is the E to MC squared sloka of Vaishnavism. Right? That special equation given by one of the greatest scientists of the world, Einstein, helped explain so much about matter and velocity. So many questions unanswered about creation were answered because of this one, not sloka, but one formula, right? Equal to MC square. Many mysteries of the physics of astronomy were cleared by this formula. What is E to MC square shloka for Vaishnavas? That comes from the lotus mouth of Mahaprabhu Chaitanya. To his greatest devotee, who's a Sambandha Acharya. Because we have disconnected from eternality, so we want to get again connected to eternality. So he spoke this to the Sambandha Acharya. Jivera Swarup hoy, Krishnera, Nitya. Nitya word is very important. Right? And then it says Das. So please understand, these two words come together. Nitya and Das. So, trying to gradually conclude our talk today to some very meaningful resolutions. Eternality can arise in our lives when we understand that we are Das. Dasatva is our true nature. We are here for eternal service of the all beautiful Krishna. To the extent we do not allow Dasatva to predominate our consciousness and be absorbed in Bhogatva, right? We get disconnected from eternality. So Bhoga Vritti or Bhogavad, which is the world strongly recommends in this, right? As a source, the goal of life. Bhog, more money. People are chasing, crazy, mad after money, right? Why money? Because it promotes, allows the facility for bhog, right? Therefore it is stressed so much. Money, even more money, endlessly more money, right? Because it promotes bhog, right? The more we go into bhog, you become more and more disconnected from your very nature. But to get connected to eternality, we have to connect to this concept of das, right? Jivara Swarupa, his very nature, his existential nature is that we are das. If you take Diksha, you are reminded that strongly. Your Guru Maharaj will take beads in his hand, and that special day will be there where you'll be like nervous, like anything, in front of your Guru Maharaj, and said, so, what do the folk like to do? Principles will say, meat eating, gambling, intoxicant, illicit sex. So you will do or you will not do. You forget, I will, no meat eating, you forget the word no, you just say, you're so nervous on that day, right? So, and I will chant Harishma Mantra every day on my beads, like that. You say so many things, very nervous. But the most beautiful thing is that when he takes out the beads and holds it in his hand and gives it to you. The adhikar to again connect it to dasatva. It's called Harinam Diksha. He said, your name will be, Krishna Das. And the moment he does that, the whole audience, all the devotees, they applaud strongly. Krishna Das Prabhu ki! And then, of course, the ladies will get Radha Priya Dasi or something. They get this then. So, many, Radha Maharaj says, many devotees say that like that. Said, usually we are connected, very anxious to know, kya naam milega, Mera R pe se Ram mil sakta hai, ye mil sakta hai. You start thinking about what possible names your Guru Maharaj will give you, right? And so D pe se Dhritarashtra Das, Dantavakra Das, aisa kuch. So yes, every devotee is, having sleepless nights, before his Diksha day. Kya naam milega? And devotees start talking among themselves. V pe se Vishakha bhi hai, so many other names are there. Vrinda bhi hai, or kya naam hai, Vaishnavi bhi hai, so many things, I said, that's not important. What is more important is the Vishakha Devi Dasi, Dwarkadhish. That Das is again what is your real identity. Our spiritual masters re-establish at the time of Diksha our real identity, who we actually are, not what we actually think we are. Right? We think, I'm a doctor, like, so and so, and this, does this, does that. I'm this, Prabhupada said, I'm a Hindu, this, that. Whatever you think of yourself, you may think so many things about yourself. I'm so and so, so and so. So all that is illusory, because it is all asat. What you think of yourself is all. But the Guru Maharaj gives you identity and said, you are Krishna Das. Jivara Swarup hoy, Krishna Nitya Das. And therefore, in our society, ISKCON society, the Vaishnava society, this is considered as the highest activity for all of us. Whether you're a brahmachari, you're a sannyasi, you're a GBC, you're a guru, you're a new devotee, old devotee, senior devotee, counselor, whatever you are, everyone wants to serve in our capacity, according to our ashram, according to our very nature. The women will do things according to their nature. Maybe they will go into more into cooking for the lordships, make garlands for the lordships. The men will maybe collect donations, do book distribution, whatever. We all want to do things which is to serve. We are all servants. Nobody here in our society is considered as a master. Nobody is a master. Our eternal master is His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. He's our eternal master. Right? And we all, for the next 10,000 years and more, we all will be serving the mission of Srila Prabhupada, who brought us to that eternal existence. Right? And therefore, how grateful we are to Srila Prabhupada. Right? How very grateful we are to him. That he trained us, he tutored us, he guided us, he wrote books for us, he spent sleepless nights for us. He traveled all over the planet 14 times for us as an old man. He ventured and risked his life across the Atlantic and Pacific for us. He did all this for us, right? To bring us to this understanding that we are all eternal servants of Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I cannot explain how happy we are feeling to see this Vishal Sabha at Vishal Nagar of devotees. And as Prabhuji started by telling about journey, and Prabhuji was telling in the introduction that how I joined when I was in 9th standard, my mind just went down the journey. You know, how I joined Krishna consciousness, and it's all reminding us of the old Gopinath days. How in the beginning, few devotees are there, and then how the whole thing grows. So I was thinking that any relationship which we have with anybody goes through usually 5 stages. First, I don't know how many of us have gone through it. First is the stage of what? Infatuation. People are smiling, Usually infatuation is between boys, girls. That infatuation means what? That newness which you have. You get just so fascinated. The girl is fascinated by the boy is fascinated by the girl. But talking in terms of spirituality, we all went through that infatuation stage when we joined Krishna consciousness, right? Everything seemed so wonderful. When you entered into the temple, you felt I've entered the spiritual world. When you see the deities, you feel wow. That wow factor comes, That's such beautiful deities. Usually you go to Birla temple and they have marble deities which have self-clothes. They don't even dress them up like that, And sometimes dhool is there on them and cobwebs are there. But you see ISKCON temples, how they have beautiful fresh garlands every day. Deities are dressed so elaborately. So that wow factor comes. You have the prasad, wow. There is such nice kirtan going on. Again, it's that wow factor. Dancing is there, music is there. So we go through this, each of us goes through this infatuation stage. Otherwise, what is it that attracts us? We go to so many places. You go to movie theaters, you go to gardens, you go for vacations to different places. But because of this, we felt infatuated. Now, infatuation stage, how long does it last? Very small shelf life. Doesn't last for long, right? But somehow or the other, if you continue that infatuation stage and you come to the next stage, what is the next stage? Revelation. Things start getting revealed to you. If you are just practicing, again taking the example of the boy and the girl, if you take like that, after infatuation, if you still continue in a relationship with each other, then what? things start getting revealed, how we can connect to each other on a more deeper level, and what we can do further to enhance our relationship. So things get revealed, some good things get revealed, some bad things get revealed. You feel, oh no, इसके साथ रहना है, इसके साथ, some unpleasant things also come, pleasant things, but because we have decided that I want to carry forward this relationship, so we even what do you say, resist that revelation stage, and then you come to the next stage. And what is the stage? That is known as, this is in psychology, they give these stages. It's the stage of reconciliation. जो है वो यही है, इसी के साथ जीवन बिताना है. So you come to that stage, okay, I got infatuated by bhakti, I got infatuated by Krishna consciousness. Certain things were as expected, pleasant and all. Certain unpleasant things also came about. कि अरे इधर मंदिर में भी ऐसा होता है. Didn't expect this, this, that, whatever. But then you still continued and you came to the stage of reconciliation. What is it that this is it? I have found the right person in my life, who is Krishna, who is Guru. And now what I want to do, I have reconciled with the fact that good, bad, this is it. I want to do. I have found a higher purpose. I found the best thing in my life. So after reconciliation, then what comes? The next stage. I'm just fast forwarding it because we are late. The next stage comes is consolidation. I become consolidated in bhakti. That, yes, now what I want to do? I want to offer something more. I want to do something. And how I can be contributing. Till now I was just relishing bhakti, coming to the temple. Okay, nice, सब set हो गया है. But now I feel कि अरे थोड़ा जल्दी जाके चटाई में बिछाऊं, साउंड सिस्टम का अरेंजमेंट करे, प्रसादम में हेल्प करे. I want to offer some service. You come to that stage, that okay, I have taken. Now I want to give something, right? So we come to that stage of consolidation, and ultimately, the last stage where you come is commitment, firm commitment. There's no divorce. I'm fully committed because I have found the purpose of my life, right? I have found it, and commitment means what? It's like if you take the example of gum. Infatuation is like that post-it things, they just fly off anytime. You go a little further, there is gum. उससे ज़्यादा जाओगे तो क्या मिलता है? फेविकॉल, है ना? और उससे ज़्यादा if you want to make the bond strong, what do? Welding. निकलेगा ही नहीं. So that is what our desire is, that somehow or the other, we were not looking for Guru, we were not looking for Krishna. I don't know, maybe some of you were. Because I was not, I was running away. In school, what do you expect? You didn't understand anything. But came to temple and liked the people. So nice, इतने अच्छे लोग मिलना, like-minded लोग मिलना, that they love you for what you are, not what they are going to get out of you. कि अरे ये अमीर व्यक्ति है, पैसा मिलेगा, ये हट्टा कट्टा है, थोड़ा उठाने में हेल्प करेगा. Not that type of thing. They just love you for what you are. And found such nice people and found some purpose in life. Otherwise, we were all purposeless people. You didn't know why I'm doing what I'm doing. Honestly, बस जी रहे थे ऐसे ही. Just life floats on and go. Having got this wonderful, wonderful opportunity, and then I decide कि ultimately जीवन में है क्या? बिना पर्पस के जियो या तो एक पर्पस के साथ जियो, है ना? Two options are there. What is we just went through 26th of Jan, Republic Day. All our national heroes, what they found some purpose in life के कुछ करना है. So we might think we are very insignificant people, which we are, but if we decide at a particular point कि चलो कुछ करते हैं, all of us can be good contributors in some way or the other. A machine doesn't become a machine without even the smallest of screws, right? छोटा स्क्रू की तो भी जरूरत होती है ना, भले हम स्क्रू है लेकिन स्क्रू तो बन सकते हैं ना कोई मशीन में. In the same way, if we just decide कि by infinite mercy of Krishna, somehow we have got connected to such a bona fide movement to such a wonderful process of Krishna consciousness. Now the ball is in my court. Either I could be like any one of those passers-by coming, spending some time in the temple, enjoying the thing, and then I carry on with my life. छोड़ दिया यार, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? ये क्लास ज्वाइन किया, छोड़ दिया, वो ज्वाइन किया. Or I decide कि नहीं, this is my life of commitment, which I want to make. When I keep doing that, that's when Krishna and Guru start reciprocating with us. Huh? So this is what is the journey of Krishna consciousness. That the process which we are talking of, Sadgamaya. That if you stick to something, तो कुछ मिलेगा ना. If you are just like rolling stones, थोड़ा इधर, थोड़ा उधर, तो they gather no more. कुछ नहीं मिलता है लाइफ में. But when you stick to it, you have that sense of what? Fulfillment. Isn't that important for us to have sense of fulfillment? अरे क्या प्रभु आप ब्रह्मचारी बने, आपको जॉब सेटिस्फैक्शन है क्या? पूछेंगे ना, क्योंकि उसको बोले आप IT जॉब कर रहे हैं, आपको जॉब सेटिस्फैक्शन है. What is our job? What is our job? We have joined Krishna's company. We are doing service in Krishna's company. So job satisfaction मिलना बहुत ज़रूरी है हमें. And you get job satisfaction only to the extent you put in the hard work in doing the company's work. So really would like to congratulate all of you for putting in your efforts. So early in the morning, we are asking Sunday feast at 6:30, 4 o'clock. Unimaginable for us, But this shows your sincerity. Okay, you want to understand. You want to do something. And that's when Krishna reciprocates with us. So really would like to wholeheartedly congratulate each one of you. Because any temple is not built by, money. Money will come. Money is not so important thing, It is made from the pillars of commitment of the people who formed that congregation. So really, hats off to our Kanai Thakur Prabhu for, establishing this company. But all of you can, be very much instrumental in whatever way, because we have seen in ISKCON that this synergy between brahmacharis and grihasthas, when they work together, it's like, lame man and blind man type of thing. They have the vision. And as grihasthas, if we can assist them in whatever way, small, big, just Prabhu, we are available. आज available रहना किसको, who is available? बीमार होते हैं तो relatives भी आके बोलते हैं ना, अरे कुछ चाहिए तो बोलना, और फिर बोलो कि जरा आज थोड़ा फ्रूट्स लाके दोगे, अरे नहीं आज तो टाइम नहीं है ना, तो बोले इतना बोल के गए अवेलेबल है, फिर अभी अवेलेबल नहीं है. So like that, if Prabhuji says, okay, can you come for this? नहीं Prabhuji, आज थोड़ा आराम कर लेते हैं. आराम जरूरी है, लेकिन एक missionary zeal होना, which gives purpose to our life, So for grihasthas, it is very, very important. ये अपना योगदान होता है, हाँ, अपना योगदान, और इससे जो satisfaction मिलता है ना, you can't compare it with anything else. So let's decide to make this yogdan, to build this nice temple, wherever it's going to come, I don't know, in assisting our wonderful saffron devotees. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we'd like to thank His Grace Dwarkadhish Prabhu and Vishakha Priya Mataji for specially taking out time. Prabhuji और Mataji Pune आए थे. Like we've heard from them, they're so caring, they're so loving, and they're such carriers of mercy, because they have shown that commitment from the beginning days of Radha Gopinath temple, and assisting Maharaj and helping the building of the congregation there. And you can see that coming out from them, when they talk, when you meet them personally. This visit, when they're in Pune, they have come specifically to meet certain families. So they'll not be able to spend more time with us. But my request to them is that please, next time when you come, we need at least a couple of days with both of you. Right? Minimum couple of days with both of you, so that devotees can personally meet and take guidance and take help. And carriers of mercy like both of you, right? If they come, surely we'll be able to serve Srila Prabhupada and serve the mission of Maharaj and do some service from us. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. That's what he showed me in Lavani. There's a stage there. The stage right there in the entrance, you know. So meant for dramas.
So I'd like to thank His Grace Dwarkadhish Prabhu and Her Grace Vishakha Priya Mataji by loudly chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Prabhuji and Mataji have to go to one devotee's house and they have a meeting with them. So they'll not be there with us for the Mangalarti now. My request is that Ajit Mahap will arrange some devotees. At least I want counselors if they can meet you for 10 minutes, just outside.
10 ke saath 10 free.
Wow, 10 ke saath 10 free. Because I want them to take breakfast also at the right time, and the Grahastha also who is hosting them, you know, they're supposed to take prasadam here, but you know, Mukundan Prabhu, who is coordinating their visit, he called me and said, Prabhuji, this Grahastha is feeling bad, that you know, he wanted to host them for prasadam. I said, no problem. We are getting something of their association. We are most happy about it, and that devotee also can make the best of their association. Thank you very much.
But we can surely say we lost our heart in Vishal Nagar.